Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, Nicole, Jesus Christ, Nicole. You know, this is the reason why Allie is the way that she is. Because no one bothers to really fully check this girl. I can't even call her a woman because she constantly acts like a little girl. So, Allie gets back and she's all like, oh, everything went so wrong. And, she tells Nicole that, she tried to shoot Trip. And Nicole was all like, at first she seems like she's going to do something. And then she's just like, violence is never the answer. I'm like, well, but in her case, no. And you would honestly sit there and think that she would have been a lot more harder on Allie after Allie told Nicole about what she did. So, after Nicole was convinced that it's Allie, that it's Ava, she wants to call the cops. But, Allie being Allie is like, no, we can't do that because if, you call the cops and I can go to jail too because I'm such a dumbass. And, Nicole decides to get Abe. So Abe comes over and Nicole tells Abe about, Ava. And at first, Abe is about to do the same thing that Nicole was going to do. But Nicole's like, no, she can't do that because, well, Allie, why don't you explain? And then she explains, and instead of, here's the thing. I don't know about these people. Okay, first Nicole is supposed to be keeping an eye out on Allie, and yet she's just, oh, you pulled the gun out of someone? Oh, no, it's cool. I mean, it's a bad thing. It's a very bad thing, but, like, that's it? That's all you're going to sit there and give to her? And when Abe comes in and Abe hears the story, I was like, okay, so we got a reasonable guy here, right? I mean, he's gonna really lay down the law on her, tell her how wrong she is and really give her a stern lecture. No. That's really all I gotta say about that. And so, Nicole's just like, oh, well, she wasn't really gonna shoot him, she just wanted to scare him, just to give him a confession. Really, Nicole? Really, that's... And then Allie's like, no, I want to hurt him really badly. I don't even have any words for that. Like, I don't. Sometimes, I actually tell you the truth, sometimes I'm sitting there always thinking, like, what is it like for the actress to be playing such a moron? That's what I want to know. What is it like for the actress to be sitting there playing such a moron? How does she sit there and look at this script and be like, yep, okay, alright, yeah, I can get behind this. Anyway, so Abe came over there for no reason. Because now you just have two people that know that Ava's alive. So Nicole, what did you actually call him over here for? Now, of course, Abe was sitting there talking to Rome about Allie and her situation and yada yada yada. And of course they was talking about Lonnie. And you know what, listen, I'm just going to sit there and say this right off the bat. I feel somewhat bad for any man that is married or is dating a Lonnie in their life. But then again, at the same time, I'm like, you kind of deserve it if you're willing to put up with that. So, Abe sits there and talk about how he's in the doghouse and Eli's in the doghouse, and they're just kind of going through their stuff. And then, of course, Kayla comes in and she starts talking about how, she gave Steve an ultimatum, and, she feels really bad, but yada, yada, yada. And then Roman's like, you did the right thing. I understand why you gave him an ultimatum. Listen, to a certain extent, I can understand where everyone is coming from. To a certain extent. Okay? The science is there, the evidence is there, and Steve, from the inside, the soap opera land or whatever, he's just choosing to ignore it. So I understand partly what Roman is saying. But then the other part of me is like, he's your kid. She gave you an ultimatum and your answer is like, yep, okay, cool. I mean, granted, he seemed like he struggled for like, I don't know, 4 minutes or 3 minutes, but I'm like, bro, you... And, I get it. They do have other kids together, but still, I don't know. I just... So they're all sitting there commiserating about, well, actually, pretty much it's just two of them commiserating about the stuff that's going on in their life, and Roman's just listening, and that's when, Abe gets the call, to come over to Nicole's house to pretty much waste 5 minutes of his time. That's literally what he did. So, alright, let's talk about Sarah and, Xander. Listen, for the people that are, coupling and really like seeing them together and seeing them do all sorts of cutesy stuff, you pretty much got your wish in this episode. They were hugging on each other, they were kissing on each other, they were saying all sorts of cute things and stuff, but besides the fact that, Sarah got part of the information that Xander needed, that was pretty much about it. He got a piece of the puzzle, and he needs to get more. And you know what it did after that? Well, they pretty much had sex. That was it. That was literally the extent of their scenes. And I'm going to say this, and I know this sounds really bad, but I'm going to be honest, I actually enjoyed, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, the Philip and Chloe stuff more than the Xander and Sarah stuff. Just because for a little bit, and I was sitting there watching it, I was like, wow, he actually almost seems like a decent human being. Like, when he lets down his guard and he's sitting there talking to Chloe about the stuff that's going on and their past and stuff like that, and I'm like, I mean, you're not going to fool me tomorrow, because I know that this guy's going to do something that's going to just make this guy fall into a man trap. I mean, just being a man child, but he actually seemed like a decent character, and that's weird for me to say, but, they pretty much just caught up. That's literally what they did. They caught up, they talked about high school, and, him dumping Chloe for, this, other woman that I can't remember her name, and then he talked about how he was gambling, and he got in some debt, and then he really sunk himself in, but he didn't really give the full tale of everything. Like, he didn't sit there and talk about the Ava stuff and how he pretty much owes the mob money at this point. 1 second. He pretty much owes the mob money at this point. He didn't really get into that, which is actually probably a good thing, because she don't need those problems, okay? She doesn't need those problems, and I think that he's actually being a decent person, because he could have just laid it all out and just made himself feel better, but then at that point, he would have kind of got her caught up in it. So, yeah. Now, here's the thing about Xander in the beginning, and I gotta sit there and talk about this, is that he was like, yo, like, we shouldn't be seen together. Like, what are you doing? Like, this whole plan can fall apart. And then he plays mattress tag and he forgets all about it. And then, when Sarah leaves, Sarah is seen walking out the hotel right when Philip is walking past. So I was just like, okay. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, really? What? Listen, if Xander is actually being the voice of reason, we got a problem. We got a real issue going on. So I want to get to my last part, which is another favorite scene of mine, which was Steve, Trip, and Ava. So, Trip and Ava sitting there talking, and Trip is like, "Listen, I gotta tell my dad. I gotta tell my dad that you're here because he's been by me. He's been my rock, and I'm gonna be honest with him. I'm gonna be 100% with him." And that's when Steve walks in the door, and he's just like, "Wow. So why aren't you dead yet? Why aren't you dead? You should be dead." And then they get into this whole thing about Joey and, how her being on the run, Joey should be free, and, she did all this bad stuff to Joey. And listen, I can't sit there and really pick sides because I don't know the full extent of who did what or whatever. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Ava was like, "Listen, I saved Trip from crazy moron Allie, so that should give me something." And at this point, Steve was like, "Listen, I'm gonna call the cops." Ava tries to strike up a deal, basically sitting there saying that, "Listen, Joey can go free only if I go free." And Trip is kind of caught up in the middle. Trip is like, "Listen, let's just kind of chill. Let's just breathe." 1 second. Yeah, Trip is just caught up in the middle. And I'm not gonna lie, there's one part where, like, after Ava and Steve are talking, and Steve is like, "Yep, I need a drink. I can't do this conversation sober. Nope, it's just not working." I love Steve, by the way, if I have not said that enough. He is one of my favorite characters. And that was, honestly, to tell you the truth, towards the end, all it really comes down to is, Ava is leveraging, Joey's freedom in exchange for her own. So I guess we're just going to wind up seeing what happens with that. So yeah, that's just my thoughts. I don't really felt like I missed anything. No, I didn't really feel like I did. Again, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not going to lie, I felt like the whole Xander and Sarah stuff was, in some ways, they were wasted. Like, if you're in for the romance and the coupling and stuff like that, the cutesy moments, then yeah, you're going to, like, get what you want. But as far as storyline goes, I felt like they were just, they didn't really do anything. And so I actually wind up liking the Philip and Chloe stuff a little bit more, just because you kind of got a glimpse of Philip when he's not all, agitated and just kind of just calm and rational and just, whatever. I'm going to be really honest. I wonder who this other woman is that I can't remember what her name is. And it has nothing to do with the wine that's actually in that cup, because I only started drinking that right now. I really don't remember her name is. But whoever it was, like, Philip dumped Chloe for whoever this mystery woman is. Now I'm really curious about who is this mystery woman. Because I also feel like she was kind of a bad influence on him too. I don't know if he had a gambling problem, but pretty much throughout the story, she was talking about, like, gambling and stuff like that. Like, he started gambling, and I feel like it might have been because of her, or a catalyst, or something. So I really want to sit there and see who this woman is, or who's going to get to play her, because hopefully she'll come back, and I can kind of be like, "You dumped her for her," or, "Oh, okay, I understand now," But yes, with that being said, that's actually going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, apologies for this coming out so late. And, My GH review is going to be pretty fun after I finish this cup of wine. But with that being said, I'm going to go. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And, yeah.